day of September 18, 2025. So we are here today at the Dolo Administrative Building to witness the leadership training of PIHREGS International Incorporation. So we are going to bring you all of those happiness. We are going to bring you all of those things, every since along the way of this entire program, this entire amazing leadership program today. Stay tuned. We are going to bring you through. So before we go through, let's all go through the menu of what they have today. So PIHREGS International Training have an arrival time, arrival guest that has been done by 9 to 9:30. That has already been done. You have prayers and remarks that have already been done from 9:30 to 9:35. We have purpose of the program by PIHREGS member. So PIHREGS member is going to be reading the purpose of the program. So the purpose of the program is to enlighten or is to train our leadership in district number 2 Mike Gibby for all sectors, be from the community and at the county level that are residing within district number 2 Mike Gibby and beyond. So they are here to make our leaderships to know what they are ought to do, to know their responsibility, and to work to enhance their very constituents. And we'll also have recognition of guests. There are so many guests today. I figure is inviting. There are so many people who are coming in today. So PIHREGS is here. So recognition of guests, and some of these guests we will be able to go through with some of these guests that we are expecting to be here today. And then that was the first session. The second session of PIHREGS is the first speaker, Mrs. Famata Thomas. Will be enlightening our mind. Will be enlightening the minds of people on communications. So the effectiveness of communications and other things. So as a leader, communication is very much important. It's the primary issue. So Mrs. Famata Thomas is going to be driving those leaders through about communication, how they can be able to communicate. And we will also have our second speaker that will be speaking on reporting progress. As a leader, it is very much important that you are able to report progress to your constituents and other officials around you. So our second speaker will be speaking on reporting progress. So the third speaker is going to be Mrs. Vivietta T. Cassell, who is going to be speaking to the public on planning as well. So after Mrs. Cassell, we will have the membership and support that will be led by Mr. Daniel T. Safar. Now, so folks, few guests. These are guests that PIHREGS has invited, and these are people that's going to be on the program for today. So we will have Honorable J. Emmanuel Nugwe, Senator for Maikibi County, and we will also have Honorable Judy Z. Smith, State Majoress of Unification City. We'll have Honorable John Flomo, the DEO of Family Education District. We'll have Honorable Cecilia Do, Unity Party Chairlady for Maikibi County, and we'll have Honorable Gani Tokba, Deputy Minister for Children and Social Protection. So folks, stay tuned as we go through and we bring you all of the happiness. Stay tuned. This is Face the Camera TV. Welcome. We are here to bring you live all of this happening today at this leadership program. We are here to share meaningful talks and experience with you. We are here to see the excitement of those our leader faces. I show and I guess that after this training, our leaders is really going to work in their constituents to ensure that their people have the better results. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go for the happiness within the Dolo administrative world. So let's go for the happening at the program house within the Dolo administrative world. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. So this is PIHREGS International that is hosting this unique and great training for our leaders to enlighten their minds. So stay tuned for the happiness of these great occasions. Yeah, ushering in the administrative war is Fist Camera TV. So we are here to bring you live out of the happiness of today's program of PIHREGS International. So here speaking is Mrs. Famata Thomas speaking to us on communications, which is lighting our minds on how well we are perfectly able to communicate as a leader. So from here, our leaders is going to communicate properly to understand that it is very much important to communicate with our constituents. So folks, let's listen to Madam Thomas as she goes through the communication aspect.
The question, the first one, and then you can do the follow-up question.
So it is not
Yeah, yes.
questioning, it's
Exactly.
questioning. So as you heard that, we need to be a good
Exactly.
listener. We need to be
Because
a
so
good listener
at that
as a
point in
leader.
time, the person is not properly communicating because you confuse the person in which you are communicating with. So what do you expect he or she to do now? Sometimes the person become arrogant and like, but when how many questions I will answer now? So
Yeah,
the person
that's
I
some of the
mean,
characteristics
I
of
mean,
leader. You need to be
it
a good
tells you that
listener,
you are not in the right
and
level.
if you are not really a listener, you catch problem with other people. So we need to listen.
It's not that the person is not communicating, they are not communicating properly. Because communication should be true understanding. So if I'm talking to you, you understand it and am not communicating properly. For I am communicating but not properly.
It's very much important to
Mhm.
communicate properly as a leader. We
However,
need to
good.
properly communicate
Yes.
with
When
other
two
people.
persons are working
So here,
together,
these are
right?
all leaders
At that moment,
within and
you
out of
are
district number two,
communicating
Maggie
in an
County.
honest way.
These are leaders who are
Because
here
you abusing
to
the person. When you
understand the
anger,
role
the
properly
person
as
abuses
leaders,
you.
and these
The person
people are
like,
also
hey,
people
sometimes
who
when you are
I
not
believe that
in
after this
for a position
entire
now in the
program, they
house,
might be able to go to their
so it's
constituents
like
and
me
do
that I
pretty
communicate
much
as
well
very very
within
people get close up to it.
their very roles that they are
Uh-huh.
serving. So with this, these are leaders of
Mm-hmm. And I'm so sorry for
district
having one
number
microphone.
two, Maggie
So are you hearing me from
County.
my end? So you cannot be audible. I think what we go to, can you please tell at least in your voice? Yes, recite it.
Okay, that is
Okay. Yeah, I just said, answer by saying at that moment, that period, you're having confusion, right? You're having confusion when you're having confusion between the two persons, and you're abusing each other. You're communicating because the man want you to know that he want you to be hurt, so he says some things to you to hurt you. So we communicate in different ways. People appreciate husband and wife communication, sharing. I mean, so the man communicating with you, the man cursing you, and you cursing the man. So, any honestly, you did the man say, when the man cursing, you understand? Uh-huh. That's what I just said.
so it's one of the leaders trying to clarify concerning communication. So
Yeah, again to a point. Let me just say something. Sometimes we as journalists we come interview for a purpose. Let me just say this. Sometimes we come to annoy you to carry the story. Especially when we know you somehow who is emotional. We come intentionally because you force our story. Anything you do a story, you get there. Like part the one is the
So
bastard.
leaders are still
And
coming
you
in
say the
for
power.
this
So we feel it
great
annoying you.
occasions. We are still
When you
seeing the
say something
faces of
in other
leaders who are
way and
coming
how
in
what people are
at this
listening to.
point.
The people on the radio, the skits and stuff, then you get
You know,
very
this
well
program
because
is
it's
full of
not for
excitement.
interest.
Other
So they
people,
want
other
to know.
leaders. There are
So
people who are eager to learn. There are
yes.
leaders who are
So
listening very, very keenly.
yeah.
So that is the leader for Rural View Community, Durstown.
Mm. A Bible group. Somebody they will go tell my brother. For me, they say, yeah. And I think that woman can do. Me, I will wait. That woman, when you come to me, I will give to him, yeah, to her. And I ate it. Me, I don't know it. I will go there with my respect. But sometimes I brought in your hand.
So
They
leaders
will
want
tell
to
me,
know, they are equal, they are asking questions, they are making meaningful insights and contributions about the topic communication. No, it is very much important to be communicative as a leader, and with this, leaders wants to know the deep about communication. So, with this question is what if I'm making a fraud or I have a conflict with other people? How can I effectively communicate with them that I'm making conflict with? So the leaders are asking. So there are too many hands out and there are too many people who wants to make contribution concerning this because the issue of communication is very much important when it comes to leadership. The leaders need to be an effective communicator. So folks, the guests are still pulling in, and I guess people are eager to listen and understand their role properly as a leader. So the guests are still pulling in. I guess with these faces, we have to see so many faces today, so many faces as a leader. And I must appreciate the organization for coming to enlighten the minds of our leader when it comes to this leadership role. So it is very much important we are able to begin enlightening our minds. It's very much important. So, Mr. Johnson Booker Cody, Mr. Johnson Booker Cody is on the floor right now with the answer of clarifications. You hear? So, so the session is getting very, very important. So let's maybe aware that this is session two of this great leadership training today. This is session two, and on the floor is Mrs. Famata Thomas. She's speaking to us today on leadership. She is enlightening all of the leaders' mind on leadership, and her most specific point of communications is our most specific point today is communications, how effective our leaders can be able to communicate with their colleagues, with their co-workers, because like I said from the onset, communication is very much important. So there should be a proper communication. So he will hear these are the faces of attendants, participants who are come to grace this great occasions, who wants to be a better leaders. I know some of them are better leaders, but they came to get the information to add more values, to add more knowledge or to what they already have, and I must applaud them for that. So
Okay, thank you very much. You made us celebrate. Okay, for journalists, as you think we are not like that. We are journalists, we are not like that. And this entire session is not about journalists. It's about communicating. Okay? So we have another forum where I will come as a journalist and we talk a journalistic we talk about the journalistic side of communication. You yeah? You yeah?
so she's
I
now
enjoy the way you're getting to the journalist. You tell you that it's not what you're saying.
All right, that's the question. The kind of comments. And most especially the service provider. The service provider. In the hospital, in the banks, wherever you happen to host the bank and begin to come and use the bank. Why you communicating the person on the social media? Even in the hospital. Now, you talking the person if all activities on the social medias. So my questions to you, you're speaking about your communications. Is that communication because you are communicating with the person and the person on the social media with different things and you are talking. I think like hearing you, shaking the head, yeah. That's communication.
suppose I think you got the question as well when you're communicating while someone is not really paying attention. So is it a proper communication? That is the question you ask.
Communicating to various places of work. We all face that in the market, the market women themselves. You ask them a question, they will answer, you are bad, don't go and do so. You understand? That's why I said from the onset, violence, when it comes to violence in Nigeria, is everywhere. You go to the place, and your money can pay them. They ain't seeing it out. Sometimes they just talk to you anyhow. Sometimes they don't even answer you at all. Even to the hospital. When a doctor is around or that, you just sitting home, you're just sitting, they will not tell you're doctor. They are not communicating. So when you go to those kind of places, it's not because of the people attitude, and then you yourself will become arrogant. No. Excuse me, we've been here for hours. What is happening up to now? You can process my money or you can attend to me. What is going on? You know, it's not because somebody is misbehaving then it turns you off and you misbehave. No. Be yourself. Be that kind of person. Continue being intelligent. Continue being that kind of person. So the various places they need to train that staff. Because our banking system is a very serious problem, man. They will just talk to you anyhow, anytime. You go to the hospital, it's easy. They're drivers themselves. They will be looking for passenger alert. You sit down in a car, they stop anytime. They will not say, "Oh, please excuse me, I want to pick up something, or I want to urinate, I want to do something." They will just stop anytime, anyhow. They will not tell you they're putting two persons at the front seat, all right? They will just stop. When you go to, my man, you know gas price expensive, they are not appealing. They see one with a motorcycle, you say that on a motorbike. You say, "Oh, you pass it to me." But when I use the hole, so that's how it is. Okay. No, yeah, we want you.
The next person is on the floor for questions of clarification. Is good.
Jesus
So let's
name.
listen.
Okay, thank you very much for your lecture. Well, what I'm talking of is this. We all here from different communities. So I believe that communication have a lot of things to say, a lot of expression, but equally so. You know, every one of us will understand and go back to our community. So I would suggest that every speaker at least more than hand up. At this on a communication, you outline few things. Carry our community.
So you're making a very important point. Is the sessions the
We'll
speakers
be
should
able
be able to
to
give
express it to
them
them
at least
and
or
do what
notes that they might read
said
later
there.
and may be able to
Maybe
understand
to
why
add up there
their
will be
purpose
very
because at
important for
times
us.
they might listen today and forget more. So they don't want to forget.
Excellent point or
Very important.
recommendation asking to get a few tips on proper communication, right? So when you people go back in your various communities to spread a message or have your people informed, with this kind of teaching, no problem. Daniel, he has my contact. He can pick it up for me on Monday, and I will be willing to give it to him. No problem.
Very
In
important
Jesus' mighty
concern.
name,
Thank you, sir.
I'm Gulam Gunov,
Mr. Gunnar.
Deputy Chairman of Congotan Cadentry. We are discussing communication. Communication is what we're discussing this morning. Uh, you said something that when you ask somebody go ask you for something, when the person bring their head down, turn their eyes so be careful. Maybe that person not serious for what he or she asking for. So I want to know how the person will pay attention to you who is asking, that you know that that person is serious for what they asking for. Thank you.
Ask me, as Mr. Gunnar,
It's
Deputy Chair for
simple.
Cotton Tree
All
Congo
right.
Time.
You need to be polite. Hello, sir. Hello, madam. I'm talking to you. Can you please pay attention to me? I came to your bank. I came to this place or whatever. Meet them with that kind of, just be yourself. Be moderate. Let me say something to you. More people in Liberia go
So
through
she's
depression.
saying
Let me
that
tell you something.
if leaders are
So
able
God,
to
we
go
have been
to
sitting down and
public
forget about
places like
ourselves.
bank or
Sometimes it's going to
hospital,
leave
they should be
you.
very polite in their
It's just
communication with
sitting and
those
people
workers
want
there,
you to
because those
question.
workers too at times
Some people going through
can
frustrations. You even know what happening
they
in a
can't really
person womb
communicate
too.
with them properly. So
So it's
they
not
need
because the
to
person is not paying
take their
attention.
times in
You start
communication.
insulting me and start shouting. You know how people will look at you too? It's you. Always have that integrity. We talk about what? Integrity. Have that integrity. Build it. Don't make somebody, to just destroy something you built for years. And start, you know, misbehaving to like the person. Don't do that. Some people say, oh, they made different. Oh. Wow. Be that kind of person, it takes nothing away from you. Nothing, absolutely. Okay. All the people born here today, now you see.
Praise Jesus. I understood you saying we are talking about communication, but there's certain communication you talk about order. It's a communicate, but it you know it makes some people to feel somehow. You talk about dress codes, the dress codes of our women these days. That communication is very bad. That communication there is very bad. It brings some men who don't get mind, who don't get strong mind. That communication can disturb them. Yeah. So I just want the public to know that part of communication is not correct. Thank you.
Okay. You know, when it comes to communication, it's not an easy thing, right? With the kind of faction now we have nowadays, the Bible talks about that. Say people will be lover of themselves than love of God, right? So to control that, it even had the last small children they say, you born your small children they say on what the social clothing because they can see the social clothing all around. So that other one there is hard to control. But all I can say to the men, that other communication, that other communication, man, your people, they make it ready, expose their body compared to women. Seriously. Men are not that type, be honest. So women that carry off for men. Women that come for the men. All the women they not come for the men. Yes, the men they don't ready to that. So all I can say to men, you just control the apple, I'm making you control the apple. Who is speaking? Okay, let's get the microphone to
So it's Mr. Freeman.
In Jesus' name. My name is Alvin Freeman, the New Dolo Community Chairperson. I had an issue in my community because communication is sending and receiving. Okay, I had a lady in my community. She suffered drugs, misuse of drugs, quinine, and she couldn't hear up to now. So she's sitting in the yard with the other tenants. Anybody smile? She said, you can't say anything about me. So we have gone through the case over and over, and we made some recommendation, but still continue. So how do you think we can reconcile with such person?
Very, very important questions. Let's see. Mrs. Thomas is about to
You
answer that
said
question.
you had some meetings with her before with the family, but so she doesn't hear at all. That's what I'm saying. She doesn't hear at all. Wow. It's just, this kind of communication is hard. As time goes by, she will make an adjustment because it's difficult to tell people say don't laugh at all. The people have the right to laugh. That's what I'm saying. The people have the right to smile, they have the right to laugh. So you can't just tell people say, you don't laugh at all. What's up for the people in the community, you go in the community? Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. So it's not possible you tell everybody in the community don't laugh or stop. So it's just difficult. The only thing I would say to you The tenants in the house, not just talk to them, say, you're almost no more competition. Not just when she's getting guests, not just when sorry, they themselves they need to build a relationship with her. And the moment we should build a relationship with her, she will understand. But when the person gets guests, they too, it's not a big fair. And they say, but whether are you talking to, I don't feel like this. Okay, I have received a signal. I'm so sorry, people keep
So there are
coming in
too
and
many
out.
people
Sorry,
who are really
this is
eager to
someone
understand
signal.
this communication problem,
Media person, or we say
and,
something we call so we say draw the curtains
and the
together.
speaker is about to
At
draw the
this
curtains of this
point in
because of
time,
time. But there are so
obviously we
many
have
people who are
media
eager
personnel
to
who draw the curtains on
get
this
the
first
information about communication.
session. I hope you enjoy this session. If you need any help, I'm right here in Firestone. I was a Firestone. My line is open. My office is open. You are welcome. Thank you.
So that was the voice of Mrs. Samantha Thomas, the first speaker of this session. Spoke to us lengthily on communications, although there are too many people who wanted to get more information about communication, but she said with time she will have to draw the curtain from her end, and she also making known to the public that her doors is open always to other people, and they are free to get communications or to get more knowledge about communication. So, folks, as I told you, there are so many people who are entering in today. Today is very, very important. All of our leaders from around District 2 are all here fighting the greatest occasion. So, talking is Mr. Daniel Serfa. Mr. Daniel Serfa is speaking now to the leaders. So, judging from Mrs. Stormer information she had about communication, I think she spoke lengthily. She spoke to all of the leaders on communications, a very important aspect. So, she talks about how effective communications is to people, how communications help people to understand properly, how communication help workers. So she made emphasis on in case at the working places of other people, in case they are work like the bank, the hospital, those people cannot really respond to you good, and other some dealers wants to know what can they do when they are able to go into that area. And she told them that leaders need to be very polite in these things. You don't need to be forward with them. You can be versed and somebody's there at the same time you feel they will calm, they won't be down. So she said leaders should calm down when they are communicating. So somebody asked a question again and said, in case I'm communicating with someone and they are not paying attention, so what can I do? And she also answered by saying that we need to ensure that we grab the attention of those people. It's important that we grab the attention of those people so that they may be able to listen to the message, listen to what we are giving them. So she spoke about so many things about communications. So as I say, Mr. Daniel is here. We are trying to usher in the new the second speaker. So the second speaker will be enlightening the minds of the people on training on report writing. So let me be starting. Yeah, so he's going to be training. He's going to be enlightening the minds of people. So this is the topic that he's going to be enlightening the minds of people on training on report writing. So it is very much important that leaders are able to write as well. Leaders should be an effective writer. So how well can a leader write a report so that they might be able to disseminate this information properly to other people? So the next speaker is coming. So
2 minutes to time, 1 more minute so we can call on Mr. Theo. Go.
So the next speaker is Mr. T. Picon. So Mr. T came from all the way India to grace this occasion. Mr. Teo It's supposed to enlighten the minds of other leaders on report
Good
writing or
morning,
how well
everyone. Can
leaders
you
are
hear me?
effective in report.
Well, I'm really happy to see all of you here this morning. First, congratulations because you came on Saturday morning, and I think it's
So,
really
Mr.
effective
Teo,
to have this training. Um, and just before I start, I just want to thank really much PIHREGS for organizing this event. It's really amazing. Yeah, for all of you here to join today. Okay, so I'm going to present some slides that here. Hopefully, you can see them.
Mr. Teo Detour, I think you can
Maybe
pretty
to
much
start, I will
see the
introduce
screen
myself.
of Mr.
So my
Detour.
name is Dolo, and I'm French. I've been here in Liberia since January, and I currently work at the Ministry of Finance. And before coming here, I was working as an economic consultant in London, and before that
So this is the
was in
profile of
Japan.
Mr. Teo. Mr. Teo profile. He is from France. So he is an
Um,
economist as
just a
well.
quick request. Please stop me if you have any question during the training. I also understand that I think you can understand me with Mac, but I can speak a bit fast and I have a French accent. So if you don't understand me, I'm going to try to slow down, but please just make a sign and I'm going to stop and slow down. All right? So just before starting the training, who writes reports among us? Can you just raise your hand if you write reports? None of you write reports? Okay. Okay, so three people. And so among you, okay, yes. Who wrote like annual reports? Maybe? Do you write emails? Okay, okay. Amazing for every one of you who are here in online report. The training is not report writing, so I hope you are going to learn things. Maybe it can be useful in the
So
future.
Mr. Teo Detour is
Yes.
going to be speaking about report writing. And this is the
All right,
agenda.
so today we are going to talk about
There are
how to
four
prepare
important
before we write
things
the reports.
that Mr. Teo
Then we are
is
going
going
to
to
talk
talk
about when
about
we start
today.
writing, and then we will move on to what we have written, how to get reviews, and what to do next. And I'm going to briefly talk about two softwares that can be useful for you as well. All right.
So
So
the
then
first one is
the preparation before
preparation
writing
before
reports.
writing. That's the first one.
So why is it so important to prepare before writing? You want to make sure that you are meeting the expectation of the reader. You want to be make sure that the information is well structured and you are using the right language. So at the end, if you prepare well, you are going to save some time at the end because you won't have to do as many stages. So on report preparation, we are going to talk about four main things. So first, understanding the publication code and objectives. Then understanding the target that you are aiming, the people who are going to read the report. Then preparing and analyzing evidence. And then work on draft and output structure. All right, are you following me? Okay, so I'm going to talk about a few kind of reports that you are probably
So
working
Mr.
on or you may
Detour
encounter. So
is
first, the
quickly
first
on
one is the annual report.
understanding
So the annual
publication core
report, this is the
objective
place
that have
where
to
you
do
have
mostly
to
with the
shine.
annual
You need to
report.
show
So he's going to
how
talk
good
about
your NGO
the
is, how good all
annual
your
report. So he is now
company is
presenting on report writing.
to be
So
trusted
the
in
annual
the
report,
as a
the
stakeholder.
first key point there is showcase
So in terms
impact
of content,
that has to do with accountability,
do you understand the
transparency,
content?
financial stability.
You can talk
And the
about
second
your
is
history,
building
you
trust
can talk
with
about key
donors,
achievements that you have
partners,
this year,
government,
um,
and
you
communities.
can talk about stories. If you want to be trusted with people who are going to read you, you also
That's
need
why you
to talk
say
about the
history,
character.
the
So
mission, or
usually
the
it's good to have
vision.
like a table explaining what happens, have you used the money that you received wisely? Um, yes. So then in terms of style, it has to be accessible, professional, but also the goal is to tell a story. Because telling a story is going to be always more interesting than just writing like facts. And so yeah, you are really invited to add visuals and to highlight the outcome. Just like that, if you are interested in the slide because you want to write reports, I'm going to share them with the organizer, and so you can come back to the slide one day if you need to write reports. Then grant application. I'm sure that it can.
So the next one is create application.
To
That
ask
will
for
do
money
it
for a project.
convince donor or relevant
And so here again, the
capacity
goal
and
is
flexibility.
really to convince the donor that you are the right
The
project.
second bullet point is
So
securing fund.
you need to have that in mind for the whole
The
thing.
third is formal, fourth is persuasive.
So you need to be
The
formal,
fifth is
persuasive,
precise.
and you want to
The
be
sixth is
clear.
factual but also motivating.
So in terms of content,
So
you're
we
again
move to the
like
next. I have to do with
you have to
problem
set up the
statement,
project,
objective
the
methodology,
objectives, the timeline, the budget,
timeline, the
to be really
budget,
clear and to make sure that you
organization
are making that
capacity, follow donors
of course, every time
guidelines,
when we want to meet
user
the
base and
objective,
data,
the goal is not
evolve
time.
vigorous
It's
claims,
just
harvest sustainabilities
we
in
tell stories,
alignment
so
with
you
donor
bet yourself into
priorities.
slides. But if you lie and then figure it out, then it's you are going to lose the trust, right? So then the second type of report is the project report.
So the
So project
second is
reports at the
project.
end of the project, you want to have an update about how
There's
you
the
have
document
gone through.
projects, you have challenges, you have lessons.
You
The
want
second
to
bullet
document
point
the
is to show
progress
accountabilities to donors,
to
board,
make sure
and
that you are
stakeholders.
accountable for what you have
The third
received as
is
as
clear
money
structure. The
and
fourth is
self-obligation.
factual. The sixth bullet
So
point
here again,
is
I've shown here in this
natural
slide
to
all the things that you
with
have to use when you're
highlights of
writing reports.
achievements.
But yeah, the key thing is really
Then
like to
for
show that
content,
you're
we have
accountable and what
project
progress.
preparations, we have activities
Am I speaking
completed,
too fast?
we have outputs, we have results
Mr.
or
Go
indicators, we have financial status, we have challenges and next steps. So for core,
All right, maybe some of you also need to send emails. Do you need to send emails? Sometimes? So something to keep in mind when you write an email is we all like a lot of people receive too many emails. So the key for you is to catch their attention. So you need to have the information shown really clearly, concisely.
so
Maybe you
the
can use like
participants
bold,
are
you can
well
have
seated
bullet
and
points.
key
So it's not
attentions.
a full report. You don't necessarily need to
This
get a
is creating
story.
unique
What you want is the attention
lessons
and
is
the
topic
reply.
of the day.
Right?
I have to do with productivity.
Um,
So
so there is a few
with
codes like
here, look
using
folks, the house is
the
Jennifer.
subject.
Every leader want to listen
It
very
has to
carefully
be
to see that
relevant,
words they are
otherwise they're not
very,
going to
very
open the
effective
email.
in
So you
a
want to be relevant,
constituency.
you want to be
So
clear. Respectful as
leaders
well,
are
professional.
very, very careful. They are
All
paying key attention in listening
right,
to
any questions for
this
emails?
unique lessons. And the Holy Spark. You have to keep
Then
us in because
motivation letters.
every leaders want to listen properly
So
to
this is
get
also
this full
maybe something
story.
that you might have
So
to write at some point.
again,
If you want to apply for a
if you're just
program.
joining, this Mr.
So
Tim
here
Store
again, you
from
want to
France
tell yourself. You want
came
to
all the
show
way
that
from
you're the
France
right
to grace
person,
this
that
occasion.
they should hire
So
or they
he's
should
here with us in Donostam at the administrative building.
so you need to make sure that you understand what they are looking for and to really focus on these areas. For example, if it's a job, you want to show that you have the skills that they want. If it's education, you want to show that you have had good grades.
So the next one is motivations letter that have to showcase
So
sustainabilities
usually
for
the structure
objective
would be introduction,
your motivations in alignment with the
tell me who you
position or
are, why you
program.
are applying,
So for the
and
start,
then
it need to be informal, it need to be personal, it need to be
and then
persuasive.
conclusion like it's
And
more
for the
short.
contents, you need to have
You
introductions,
want to make sure that
who
you
you are,
understand
what you
what
are,
is
and
expected.
plan for.
Uh,
Still on the
you
contents we have brought
want to
it,
show that
have
you
to do
know
with the
exactly what
skills,
you need to
experience,
talk
motivations.
or
You have conclusions as well, enthusiasm. So we move to the next slide. I'll be doing a presentation slides.
But the slides doesn't replace the person who presents. So it needs to have the key elements, but without having two keywords because you still want people to focus on me and not on the slide. If it's visual, it's also going to be more comfortable. So it's but yeah, be careful about not writing too much. Use bullet points and highlight the key elements for to attract attention, but without disturbing away from the translation. All right, so we covered like the main.
So understanding the target's audience, that is in the slide. Understanding the target's audience. So you say you must
We
ask
can now talk about
yourselves.
the audience. So before you
So you
start
must ask
writing,
yourself these questions. What do I want from these publications?
and what are the expectations? We already mentioned a little bit when we talked about the different slides, the different documents. But again, have in mind what is the target reader going to look for. For example, in annual reports, they're going to look for the financials, they're going to look for the story telling. What happened during the last year, like how many, like on NGO, how many projects have been conducted, how many trainings, maybe how many people work there. Also, you need to make sure that the language is right and you have the right level of details. Okay, so now we can talk about evidence. So in some reports, you will need to show tables. For example, in annual reports, you will have the table of the financials. So before you start writing, you need to collect this information. It could also be pictures. If you are doing a training like this, and you want to put it in an annual report, it's good. So yeah, covering everything beforehand that you want to cover is really key. Yeah, and so once you have collected the evidence, for example, the table of financials, you need to take the time to analyze
So
what are
speak
the
is a
key
second speaker
what does it show?
of
What
reporting
is
progress
the reader
that
going to
we
be
are
interested in?
reporting. And here's Mr. Dito, Mr. Tio
Okay, and once you
Dito
have
for
collected
France.
everything,
So
again, remember that you know what is
now
the
this is
expectation for the
general.
kind of report you are going to
So
write.
it's here the
You
greatest
know what is
occasion
the
today.
audience. You have collected your evidence. Now you can work on the draft. You can write all your ideas. You can so you already have the evidence, but you can add more things, and then you need to structure it. Make sure that it's consistent. So one good way to do it is following but NECE, it means like mutual exclusive. So you say things only once, but collectively exhaustive, which means that altogether it covers everything. So that's how like the structure that you want is both you cover everything, but only once. And ideally it has to be logical, right? Yeah, so yeah, try to create, it's also quite important, try to create a structure that is good, which is logical, and balanced, which means that you don't want one section to be half of the report and the three others that are too small. All right? It has to like, if it's the case, maybe this is not the right structure. We will want to rethink it. Okay, like, can I maybe this big section, can I split it in two? And how will it make sense? So that's yeah, it's really important to think about it because still, once you start writing, it's too late to come back. You will have to rewrite the whole thing. So you really need to think about the structure that you want before you start writing. Of course, it can change throughout a little bit, but I believe that the main structure is already there. Sometimes to get ideas, you don't have to come up with all the ideas yourself. You can just look for examples. Again, if you take the example of annual reports, like
every company in the world, every NGOs in the world, they will have to write an annual report. So if you have to write one, just start from there. Just try to find one that you like, that is maybe like comparable to what you want to do, or like even just give you the ideal. You don't have to meet all the criteria. You don't need to look at an international NGO which is too big if you are a local NGO. But the example will give you some ideas. For example, should the president write something in the beginning? For an annual report, it's quite good. So yes, we like look for like there is a lot. So usually the annual reports they are published online, so you can find them if you have internet. You can try to look for an annual report and start on there. All right. I think I've spoken a lot and probably way too fast. So I propose that we take not a break, but if you want to start talking with the people around you, like 2 or 3 people maybe, and just reflect a bit about what I just said. So maybe talk about when was the last time that you wrote a report. Do you think that when you wrote it, it met the objective that I just presented, or was there something that you forgot and something that you will want to include in the next report? In the past, have you tried to understand and to have in mind who is going to read the report? Have you prepared the evidence before writing? And have you used beforehand also other reports? So yeah, so maybe we can take 5 minutes and just I let you talk a bit among yourselves.
So now there's a portion of group conversations. Yeah, so
MF Cody, General Inspector, Unification City Corporation. You elaborated on understanding publication codes and objective. I want you to please talk about guidelines. I see how that, and I don't have idea on guidelines when you're coming out to arrange yourself on your plans of action.
Just what kind of report are you talking about?
When it comes to gain trust, what are those guidelines that you need to put together so that others can build trust in you?
so the Inspector General
All right. So the next session
securities.
is going to be about how to write the reports. So we are going to talk a little bit about it, like about how to write. I mean, if you want to build trust, first I think you need to be clear. You need to be transparent, or at least to give to. If people feel that you are hiding something, they're not going to trust you, of course. So yeah, my key message will be like trying to be transparent. And trying to be as clear as possible to cover all the aspects. If it's obvious that you have missed and maybe intentionally one, keep it. They're not gonna trust you. All right, this makes sense. I mean, it's a bit general. But being exhaustive. For example, again, if you use an annual report, if you don't talk about your financial, it's going to be a bit suspicious. You need to convince them also that if they have given you money to do a project, you have to convince them that the money was well spent. So you need to tell them exactly what you did with the money. And sometimes, often actually, being quite specific about what you did. For example, you can say, I've organized a training. Okay, it's good, but can you be more specific? How many people came to the training? How many times did it happen? Like if you give like specific facts, it's gonna also make people trust you more, I think. Make sense?
Yes,
So still on the group conversations, there are people who wants to know really about
but I'm asking this question in general.
reports writing.
in reporting, in giving report to somebody, what will be your headline that will attract the reader to whom you are giving a report to? That when the reader see it, will know
So
that
Mr.
there's
Bani is asking about the
importance in that
hook
report. What
of
will be your
the
headline
report.
in
So
attracting the
in
reader?
case you are
Thank you.
writing, what is the major headline of the report?
If I
He wants to
understand it
know.
well, like what is the headlines to attract attention? Um, okay, I guess it's always depend on what kind of thing you're writing, of course, because it has different codes. But maybe like overall, like it's difficult to say overall because yeah. Anyway, let's say for example emails. If you want to attract them, okay, it's difficult to answer your question in general because depending on what you write, the expectations are going to be different. And the kind of people who are going to read it are going to be different. If it's an email, you need to catch the attention quickly. So you need to be extremely effective. Maybe use color, maybe use bold. So because they won't have time. If you're writing an annual report, people will have more time. So what you need is to make sure that they go through it and they are able to find the information. So again, the idea is just not is not to catch the attention just to catch the attention. It's to catch the attention of the right people who are going to be able to find the information that they want, or that you are going to get the information that you want from them. So it's a bit general, uh, but yes, try to understand who are you targeting. Do they have time? Are they willing to spend some time to read a whole report, or does it have to be a single page? Uh, yeah, and we are going to talk about it how when we write, but maybe try to put your information with bullet points, which is really quick to read, for example. Does it make sense?
Thank you. My name is Samuel Simbe from Cottage Secretary. Thank you, you presented well, but I understood that most of your report is based on finance, and good number of us here are community leaders who deal with human population. Especially from an angle as a classroom teacher, I deal with students. I'm about to prepare a report on human population to specify the mortality and that of the natality rate in dealing with the density. How do I prepare this report?
So he's asking a question
Yes.
out of
Then maybe
analysis.
the community leaders will want to know, after studying that there are good number of people that will move in the community census. Okay, so there are numbers of people that will leave.
So you are talking about like writing like summarizing what happened, for example, today, right? For the population, exactly. Okay. So then again, but the same concept apply. Okay, so you need to understand who are going to read your paper, what you write. So it's going to be your community back home. Um, uh, are they going to have some time? Maybe yes, maybe not. Maybe it's just going to be a poster where you want to highlight the key information that you have learned. So we are going to talk a bit more about like writing, but the same concept works. Like when you go home, first, like maybe you have taken some notes, you know what you want to say. You put on the draft all your ideas all together. Then you want to structure them to say, okay, that idea comes with this one. Let's put them together. Um, and this idea should come before this one. So let's put this in this specific order. So once you have all your ideas, maybe like also you want to add pictures for if you are going to print it, you want to show the event, you can add a picture. This kind of thing. Like you need to think beforehand what kind of thing you want. Maybe you can find an example from someone else who went to do a training somewhere else. They wrote something. You can use it as a basis, and then you can try to improve it or to find, what is specific for your case. So really, the same concept. I understand. I talk specifically about kind of reports, but the same concept apply for all your writings, like working on the draft and thinking what you want to say. And then, for example, for like this kind of training, maybe you could write like a one page where you have the step by step how you should do it, for example. Have I answered your question? Anyone else? Yeah.
Yeah, too many questions coming in. There are people who wants to
Thank you
know
very much.
about
I believe,
report
for the benefit
writings.
of the doubt, there are a lot of people here who don't really understand you when you speak out. Huh? When you speak out, you're teaching or what you're giving out to us to get us out there, and also give out all us out there to get, what we getting from you or what we accumulating from you. I want you to please explain to us when it comes to
The inspector of
showcase
security.
impact and also bullet point. What do you mean by these two words?
So we just covered the first third, the first half of the presentation. So this is coming in the writing section. So it's coming up. So bullet points is actually just here on the side. So I'm writing sentence, but I'm not writing a story. This is not a whole paragraph. Here I'm just summarizing. So that's what we call bullet points. When we have like a bullet, and every time we say like one individual point. So this is what we mean. Thank you for raising. If I'm saying something that doesn't make sense, please tell me on the way. I'm happy to specify it. I'm sorry if I was not clear. But once I've had presented the writing session, if anything is not clear about how to write, what to write, we can.
So the first session was reporting. So now the second session of his
Any other
teachings
question
will
about the
simply
preparation
around
before
writing.
writing?
But yet on stage, we are still on group conversation. People are still eager to listen to
Well, thank you very
get
much.
more
Some of
information
us are
on
understanding what you are saying, but I will recommend to you that
reporting.
you please have this into the hard copy to be distributed to the federal leaders, so as to how we will try to explain better to our people, because most of what you are saying
So great
will not get it
recommendations.
too clear. Thank you very much.
The leaders need hard copies of this stuff too.
All right, yes, I will share the slides. Hopefully, I try to put all the information there. So once you have the slide, hopefully it's going to be easy to use.
In addition to the hard copy that you requested, if there could be possibility for you to send after the class or the session to the WhatsApp on our direct phone, or the Zeno, the soft copy.
Yeah, I'm going to share the slide with you maybe, and then you can send them. All right? Yes.
Yeah, again, you are speaking in terms of reporting. So my questions to you, we have our people in the rural areas that cannot read and write. So I want to know from you, in reporting, can it be verbal or through writing? Verbal reporting, where it gives sense from
So he wants to know as to whether reports is around verbal communications or written communication. Can you report verbally or orally? This is the point. This is what he wants to know.
I mean, I don't think I can give any lessons to you librarians about how to present, because I think you are great speakers. So like oral presentation, I think you master it way more than I do. My short answer is I don't really know. I've been here for 9 months in Liberia, and I don't know the countryside enough. So I think your experience will be more valuable than mine. But maybe just the concept about like thinking what is the message that you want to give is already important. So maybe sometimes with drawings, I'm not a good drawer, so like again, but maybe with some drawings, I think you can share ideas. So already putting your ideas beforehand, thinking about what message you want to give, I think in any communication setting is good. Just to make sure, like for example, even for me today, like this is a presentation, but I've thought about what should be the order, what do I want to share. Of course, I have the slide to support me, but I went through the steps. I thought, okay, like what are the messages that I want to share with you? What advice I received in the past and what was useful. So again, I think you can, even when you present to someone, you should probably follow similar steps.
Okay, Mr. Dave Lewis too, and I heard you talking about understanding the publication and code, understanding publication and code of objective. Okay, in there you also talk about you should be able to tell a story. So it's all reports, whether financial or any other report that you're writing, it should be a story that you're about to tell.
Yes and no. I guess when I talk about telling a story, we are going to see some slides soon after. It's not a proper story, but it's okay. The idea is just not to have one sentence after the other with a fact. This is a bit annoying to read. So what you want is, even if it's financial, which is quite boring, you can try to the goal is to make it interesting, to have a flow. But we're going to have an example. So if we still have half an hour, and I'm sure I want to have question after. Okay, a last question, and then we show the slide, and then we can have another question session.
Thank you very much. I'm with the MBA.
Questions is the floor, group assay or communication.
In regards of my other questions on the oral report. So I just want to make comments in there. You as a letterman, or the reporting to the oral man coming to report to you, you have to help the person because you already know something up here. What if I giving the oral report to you, then you're going to turn it into writing to report. Okay, to be able to value. The only thing it should be factual. Okay, the report they're giving you, it should be factual. Now you can. My question talk about this is public information, giving out public information, and that is very essential in our country. We just draft for any information, so just give it a what? It is factual. It is not factual. Okay. What do you think? What is the significant aspect in there? Because for what I understand from you, you're going for public information. Yeah. What you think that I should do? What you think that I should do? That will get the information out. What is the procedure? Please help us and break it down for some of us.
So another brilliant
You want
question
to
is
give the
again.
information to whom? Who do you want to give the information to? Public. And so how to share it? Okay. So you mentioned something about people maybe they're not trusting you, or like you're not sure about, like, or when you read something, you are not sure whether it's true or not. So this is where you need to build trust. Again, it's complicated because maybe before you, a lot of people lied. So your assumption is maybe he's lying as well. For that, there is, I think, a dynamic and a personal aspect. The personal aspect is sometimes maybe people are going to read what you have written, but maybe they also know you personally, and they know that you are not going to lie and that you are telling the truth. So, and the dynamic aspect is also maybe the person who you talk today, you're going to talk with him again tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. So if you have managed through the time to convince them, to show them you are trustworthy, then it's a relationship that you have built. So, but if you get information from someone and you know that they lied in the past, you are gonna not trust them because you have the history with them. So the same thing. If you want them to trust, you need to create this history slowly. Maybe in the beginning they're not gonna trust you, but over time, I think that's the way. All right. So let's move on to the second section, which is more specific to how to write.
So the second session is how to write a
So
report.
this is a quick summary of the 9 points that I will discuss. So just a summary. So we want to keep the sentence short. We want to use a simple vocabulary. Don't use too many commas. I'm going to show you specifically after that with an examples every time, right? So if you can use tables, you can use graphs, you can use lists. Again, we are going to talk a bit again about it, but we want to tell a story. Then I'm going to talk specifically about how to structure a paragraph and what it is, maybe. We talked about it with the question, but we want to be specific, to give numbers and not stay like in general statement. We want to, to be specific. Then we are going to talk about writing active sentences, which is specific to writing reports, and introduce graph, tables, and okay, one word is missing here. But we want to introduce graph tables with a sentence. Okay, the thing that you need to keep in mind for like writing reports, but maybe also presentations or like everything, is you want to make the life of your audience, of the person who is going to read you, as easy as possible. So this is going to be through the structure, but it's also going to be about how you write the report. All right, let's keep starting. So first, just a note. PIHREG, they send me the annual reports, and I really thank them for that. So I've read through the annual report from PIHREG, and I've taken this as an example so that we can discuss how we can improve things. So really thank you so much for sending in the reports. And my comments are, of course, not mean. It's just, let's think together about how we can improve it. So maybe can someone read the first box? I think you will understand them better than I do. Sorry? Okay. Yeah, oh yeah. So in the PIHREG annual report, we have these long sentences, which is 4 lines long. This is the introduction. So it said like PIHREG is organized and funded with vision, mission, and goal to serve humanity as a non-profit and non-political human rights organization, and is involved in taking educational training and sanitation to the people in the community, towns, village, and around the country, as well as human rights and gender advocacy. So that was the whole sentence. And what I want you to feel is like it's good, like it has all the information, but it's too long. It's a bit complicated to read. So what you need to do is to try to shorten your sentences, and maybe when you have something like this, you break it into pieces. So I've rewritten it here, and with these long sentences, I've been able to do 4 sentences. And I'm going to read it to you, and hopefully it's going to make more sense. So PIHREG is a non-profit and non-political human rights organization. It was founded with vision, mission, and goals to serve humanity. The organization provides educational trainings and sanitation services to people in communities, towns, and villages around the country. It also promotes human rights and gender advocacy. So I don't know how you feel, but at least for me to read, it's a bit easier. I know when to stop, to start. Like it's, so yeah, try to keep your sentence short. All right. The second advice I give you: use simple vocabulary. So here, my comment at the bottom is going to make it. It's going to be easier for the reader to understand what you are writing, and it's often better to sound clear than to sound smart. All right. Also, like there is a risk if you use a complicated word in the wrong context, it's not going to look good. So here, one of the sentences from the annual report is: the leadership and members of PIHREG International highly appreciate the ministry for the permit allowing us to buttress government efforts. Personally, I didn't know the word buttress. So I went online and I checked, and it means to support. And I think it's easier to understand. So I advise you to try to find like the easy words, how you would speak basically. Like you don't need to be, so sometimes in some situation, of course, you want to show off, it happens. But in general, for like, if your goal is to be clear, use simple vocabulary. Just here an additional comment. I think here there is a bit of a repetition. It's the ministry, so I highly appreciate the ministry for the permit allowing. Permit allowing is the same thing, basically. So you can just say like, for allowing us. We don't need to do the permit. And then it's gonna make your sentence a bit easier to read, easier to understand. So yeah. All right? So the third advice is don't use too many commas. I don't know if it's something that people do a lot here, but sometimes people want to write complicated sentences, specify things, so they put a comma, they specify, they end the comma, and they keep going. And it makes it really difficult to understand. So if you have this kind of situation, maybe just break the sentence in a more, break it down into more sentences, a bit what we said at the first point. So I'm going to read you the example. Okay, this is an old example. Back then, I guess the codes were a bit different, and maybe it's a bit of poetry, so maybe the codes are different. But just to give you an example. So it says, we are always living, always in the present, and yet, as we try to grasp it, the present, slipping away, becomes past, and the future, which we imagine, desire, or fear, presses in upon us, and thus our life, stretched between what has been and what will be, never rests. I don't know if you understand it. I didn't. Like it's too complicated. There is commas everywhere. I think I've counted once. Like I think it was between 11 and 13 comma in a single sentence. So if we rewrite it here below, I've put in red the full stop. So for me, when I rewrite it, I have 3 sentences already. And I still have commas. It's okay to have commas, but they are just like maybe 1 or 2 max per sentence. So that's fair. Okay, I will read it, and you tell me if it sounds better. We are always living in the present, but when we try to grasp it, the present slips away and becomes the past. At the same time, the future presses in upon us through our imagination, desire, or fears. Our life is therefore stretched between what has been and what will be, and it never rests. Okay. I don't know if it's much convincing, but yeah, this is easier, I think. All right, the fourth advice is about telling a story. So what I mean about telling a story is not a Disney movie. It's not trying to explain the background, and so let's look at the examples. So this is again from the same annual report, and they are talking about the training that they are conducting. And so here they just want to say that they have 2 trainings. So they mention it. There is a training for English, phonic dictionary learning, reading, writing skills, and home mathematics. And the second one is about health knowledge, counseling, civil education, and human rights advocacy and education. So here they just have stated the facts. We have the information, but maybe we can make it easier to understand for the reader. So what I propose is this one. PIHREGRS International has 2 education programs for adults. So that was already the information, but now I'm explaining it. The first and main program focuses on English, phonic and dictionary learning, as well as reading and writing skills. So again, that was the information that was here in the middle. I've just wrote it a bit more like as a story. This training is available 6 times a month on Tuesday and Thursdays between 3 and 5:30 p.m. So again, the information was just here. We just had to read it, but it was not a sentence. So this is just information. But then if you want to tell a story, you can add more things. For example, in average, 10 people attended class every week, every session, for a total of 300 different people who benefited from this training during 2024-2025, and over 50% of the students reached intermediate reading and writing levels at the end of the program. So basically here, I don't know if the information is true, so will have to check, of course. But what I'm doing here is I'm adding some details that makes you understand a bit better. You have an image about what's going on. So that's what I mean by telling a story. You want to give information. You want to guide the reader through the idea. I don't know what you think, but as a reader, I understand better what's going on here than here. When you have to think a lot to understand, okay, that's the topic, that's the date, and so on. All right, 5 out of 9. Where to go? So I recommend you also to use tables, graph, and lists. So in this example here, this is some data from the Ministry of Finance about the budget. And I'm not going to read it, it's not really interesting, but it's just like it summarizes all the spending for all the sectors, what was planned. And it's quite long to read. And when you see that, visually it's not really good. What I propose you as an alternative is putting a table. And this is way more clear. Like even if you haven't read all the words, you directly understand what's going on here. But just keep in mind that just having a table is not enough. You want to tell a story. So you want to have a sentence before to introduce the table. You want to have maybe a sentence after to explain what is interesting here. So maybe the interesting fact is maybe the fact that composition of employee is planning to be this amount. This kind of things, right? And an alternative, if you don't want to do a table, is to do a list. So this is what I meant by bullet points. Bullet point here, we list the different elements with points, right? So this is the exact same information that in this table, but it's structured more like in the text format. All right. Are we following? Okay, now we are going to talk about paragraphs. So when you write your text, again, this is really specific to writing. Sorry for the one. You want to split your argument into pieces, which we call paragraph. So this is a paragraph. And the idea will be in each paragraph, we have a different idea. And ideally, the first sentence should summarize kind of the paragraph. So that like if someone reads you quickly, they will already have some information, or they can choose to read in more details where they're interested. So for example, here, this is the same text that what we had here. This is the same text. So I'm not going to read it again, but I don't know if you noticed, but the first sentence is saying that PIHREGRS International has 2 education programs for adults. So when you read that, you already know that in this paragraph, I'm going to talk about these 2 programs. And that's the idea. Just try to think well about the first sentence, because it's the first thing that people are going to see when they read it. All right? Okay, 7 points. Write active sentences. I don't know if you know the difference between active and passive, so that's why I have an example here. So for example, a passive sentence is the medicine were distributed by the ministry to the villages. So it's the ministry who is doing it, but we say it like so we say the sentence from the view of the medicine. But the more active sentence we say the ministry distributed medicine to the villages. So it's the ministry who is doing it. All right. So try to have that in mind, because it gives a better impression, and it's easier to understand as well. Like the medicine were given by it's a bit long. Okay, so we are moving to number 8. Missing here. So we need to be specific, and it's better to give numbers, like to give facts, than general statements. So, for example, the project helped many children to go to school. Okay, the information is there, it's true. But we don't know. We don't know about specifics. So what I propose is the project supported 350 children to enroll in primary schools, including 180 girls and 170 boys across 12 villages. So basically, I'm giving like a lot more information, and then you have an idea about what's going on, really a lot more. And I think you asked me about how to build trust. This is a good way to build trust because it's really. I mean, I trust you more if you give me details. If you lie, it's difficult to give details, or maybe you can be a good liar. But in general, like yeah, being specific makes a big difference. And also, like if you are trying to get money from donors, if you are specific, you're like, oh my god, like yeah, I'm helping like 350 children, amazing. Like maybe like that's a project that I want to contribute to. All right, and this is the last one. Yeah, the last one. So in the annual report, I've also noticed that sometimes people they use bullet points, which is good. But I think here what we want is to have a sentence to introduce. Again, it's telling a story, but and making the life of the reader a bit more easy. So if you explain what you are reading, it's yeah. Here, I understand what's going on, but it takes me a little bit more effort. All right, we are done with the second session. The last one will be short, so maybe we can have a few questions before the end.
So the second session has just been completed. That was
Does someone have a
writing a
question?
report. Remember, the first was reporting. The second is writing a report, and there were so many key
No?
points jotted down from writing a report. So
All right,
now
I
on
got
questions
just
and
open
answer portion of there. From there, we move to the
the
second sessions that have to do with
community
review and
usage.
improvement of reports.
Yeah, so
So
we're
let's
going to
listen to
take
questions
people
and answer.
do very well to bring this to our people. Uh,
So speaking,
in the
is a clerk
report
for
in
Unification
system,
City,
we have
Augusta,
some things that we
wants to know
really
about
are
how
interested
well
for
our reports can be writing
to
as well.
already the basic format, what they are to do to prepare report to submit to their various, you know, heads.
So he wants to know the
All
basic
right,
format of
so
writing reports, how community
in the
leaders
report
or other
generally they
leaders
have something they
can
call
be
the
able to write
filter
reports
and the
within the various constitution or
the
communities or the
perception
place they
in the
reside.
mind of the person giving the report to. Yes, and all those kind of things. Then the overload, if the information is an overload, the person to whom you are speaking, they will not get what you are saying. So it should be to their level as you just said in your previous discussion. Yeah. So do you have a format that you will present to us where if this town chief, the town chief has to give a report. Okay, so they will have the topic that they want to talk on. All right, then the title, they gotta have a page, the title page, present the report. Then they will come down to their introduction. Then they will come down to the body of the report. What should be in the report? All right, then maybe they want to make some references to where they get a report from and other pertinent information. Then they have to conclude, and then they pass it over to the ombudsman. So, do you have such a format that they can go back?
Just, I think you raised an excellent point. I'm coming to the last question, but when I say here, like we want to give a story, like we want to give numbers, it's true. It doesn't mean that you have to give all the number. Like you need to be selective. You need to be relevant. If you are giving too many information which are not relevant, people are going to stop reading. It's not going to be interesting. So yeah, that's a good point. Like don't overload with information. That's when you are in the draft. You need to choose what information you want to give. You can't give everything. You don't want to give the name of the project manager or the teacher maybe. Like much information. In terms of having a template, basically, to write reports, I could give you one. I don't have one ready. I guess again it depends what you want to write because different